All right, let's get started. So we're on the new unit, Unit 2, Chapter 2. We're going through pages 66 to 83. So this is a pretty big section. And once we get through this entire unit, we'll be having a quiz over the last unit, which was Unit 1, because that was a shorter unit. I didn't want to have a quiz over that one. And then also over this one, Chapter 2. Huh? They're doing the same stuff. Depending, you guys have more experience note taking in my classes, so in that respect, yeah, you guys are faster. But other than that, they're getting to the point where they're learning my style of teaching. Okay, so lesson 2.2.1, the structure of bacteria. So that's the one we're starting with first, page 66 to 69. Okay, some of you should have this one written down already. So flagellum. Have any of you heard of what that is before? I've mentioned it once or twice before, but what is it? What is that flagellum? Madeline? Yes.
A thin, whip-like structure that helps an organism move through the liquid.
Yes. So the little guy, where's my pointer? That is not. So the little thing here on the back, that is the flagellum. So whatever you see, so in some of my structures before, you've seen whatever the tail-like structure that looks like on the back of the cell, that is called the flagellum. Animal cells, they don't have that flagellum. So they are that tail-like structure. That's the flagellum. So yeah, you can kind of think of it the tail of a tadpole. That's your flagellum. So if you want to write a little note to yourself that says, it looks like the tail of a tadpole. That's kind of how I always remembered it. Okay, so you're writing that definition out of your book. So I'll move on to the next slide. Okay, so the structure of bacteria. The structure of bacteria. So we have a few, there's actually a lot of structures, but I'm going to go over some of the really important ones. So first off, we have a cell wall, right? We've learned about what a cell wall is. Yeah, Caleb? Yeah. So the cell wall, that is the outer, one of the outer layers. It's a protective layer. So this little yellow structure here, it's one of the outer layers of the bacteria. And then on the outside, you have what's called a capsule. A capsule. So that is a thinner layer. It's usually, it gives it its, it has a, like a slimy and it gives it its, it helps it get through things. So if there's something next to it, it helps it slip by easier because of that slimy outside. That's the capsule. That's that big, that's all this red area on the outside of, and it's not actually red. This is just for, to help you guys understand and differentiate.
Pill, how it's easier to swallow.
Yeah, so it's kind of like that outside layer of some pills that are a little bit, it helps it go down your throat better. Yeah, that's a good way of thinking about it. Yeah, Courtney. What was that? This green circle? You know, I'm not sure what they were trying to go for with that.
Maybe they were just.
I have no idea.
I can't see from that blue thing. What's the thing that's highlighted in red?
Thing highlighted in red. Oh, capsule. Yeah, it's capsule. If you can't see what capsule is, it's written right here too.
Can you stop moving your mouse, please?
Sorry. And then the last one that I want you to know about is the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm. So that is the area that's within the membrane. And it's a jelly-like structure. So all this area in here, all this blue area that is around the DNA in here, that is the cytoplasm. So that's all the empty space inside of your bacteria. Yeah, Ian. Which blue thing? That's cytoplasm. Okay, I'm going to change that real quick because it's harder to read.
It's a lot.
So you guys keep writing. I'm going to change this since it's hard to read.
Yellow's fine.
Yellow's fine. Oh, no.
Now it's bad?
It's the background. The background. The yellow was fine.
All right, I'll change that back. I was trying to color coordinate here.
You're thinking of Becky.
Oh,
No, I love color coding.
Hey, it's like.
I was just like Bethy. I loved highlighting things.
Yeah, I think so. I'm gonna go through and color code all my notes.
Yeah. There we go.
There.
That should be easier to read.
I like the
The cell wall one looks kind of weird,
It
but
looks like a septic tank.
yeah, it actually kind of does look like one.
Yeah.
Those of you who know what a septic tank is, it looks a lot like a septic tank.
It's what stores all the poop and pee.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
That's a good way of putting it. That's exactly what it does.
filters it out into the grass. And
Yep.
you don't even care.
This dude doing a window.
Yeah, I've worked in a septic tank before. It's not fun.
Have you ever had to hop inside one?
All right, I'm gonna move on. Almost done, okay. No, this is part of this picture. It's just naming all the structures. You just need to write down the bigger part. Oh, is that what you're writing down? Okay, sorry. Okay, so now this is more what you're gonna be. So this is all the different structures of different types of bacteria. So first off, yes, you don't have to draw the picture, but I want you to write down the bold part and then what it looks like. So this guy right here, the Coccus, it is round. It is a round structure. So all these little dots here, they're all round. So the Coccus, that is a round structure. So Coccus, round.
So those actually have color.
Yeah, yeah, they're not all just one thing. Then we have the Bacillus. Oh, it went back. The Bacillus, and that is rod shaped. So all that you can see in these little structures, it is shaped like a rod or like a, what was I thinking of? Like a jelly bean. Got little jelly beans. That's your rod shaped Bacillus structure. Huh? I don't think so. You probably don't even taste. Actually, yeah, Bacillus, that type of bacteria is what's in sourdough actually. This is the type of bacteria that is in sourdough bread. So I mean, it has the sour, it gives you some of that sour flavor from the sourdough bread. So Bacillus, it's rod shaped. Then we have Vibrio, which is comma shaped, or like a teardrop shape. So it's pointier on one end, and then it gets bigger. So, darn, it gets bigger on one end, and then it's small and pointy on the other end. So think of a comma, think of a teardrop, those types of things.
Kind of looks like an eggplant.
It does kind of look like an eggplant.
Or a sausage, a wet sausage.
And so all of these are listed in your book as well. If you're falling behind a little bit, there's a little chart that you can follow along with. Comma, a comma. Like in a sentence, you have a comma. Yeah, I know. I was comma happy when I was in high school and middle school. I liked adding commas everywhere when I didn't need it. Then we have the spiralium. It is a spiral shape. Spiralium. Spiralium. Yeah. Yep, that's the next one. Yeah, has the spiro, what was that one? Spirosheet. Spirosheet, I think is how that one's pronounced. Don't quote me on that one. I'm not positive on the spirosheet. It might be spiroshet. It also depends on the part of the world you're from. And so that's going to be your corkscrew structure.
Yeah.
So thinking of like a pig's tail. Yeah. Okay, I'll come back to you. Then we have what's called diplo. So that just means all the structures we just went through, and they're in pairs. Think of the di at the beginning right here, diplo. And so, for example, we could have diplobacilli, diplobacillus. There we go. So we could have, like right here, these two structures right here together, that would be called diplobacillus, because there's two of them connected and they are both rod shaped. So that's how we would combine their names, because they're in a pair. Yeah, pairs.
The corkscrew one doesn't look like
I know, I couldn't find any good pictures, and so I had to blow a bunch of small images up.
Can you see the bird? What I was actually on?
Corkscrew, yeah.
It does look
It kind of just looks like the spiral shaped one too.
Yeah.
It's hard to see. Yeah.
It reminds me of the riding silver corkscrew.
Oh yeah. Yep, there's a lot of roller coaster rides that have that type of corkscrew structure in their roller coasters. So diplo, that's where you have the pairs. Then we have staphlo. So that's where you have them in clusters. So when there's a bunch of bacteria cells connected to each other, and this is very common, they're going to be in a cluster, which just means there's a bunch of them connected together, more than two. So staphlo, that's your clusters. You guys see the chart where it is in your book?
I'm kind of curious where you get these words from, but yes, I see it.
Yeah.
They're already made.
What's already made? Yeah. Well, no, they did come up with them in one point in history. Yeah. They just looked at it and said, "You're a staphlo." Okay. And then our last one is strepto. So that's where something is in a chain form. So when you're looking under a microscope, you're going to see different bacteria that is in these kind of shapes. There will be pieces of bacteria, a bunch of round pieces that are in a big cluster, or there could be just two together, or they could be in a long snake formation. Yeah.
It still looks like grapes.
Yeah, it does look like
You guys are thinking about food today.
I've been a caterpillar.
So strepto, that's in a chain. All right, that's all I have for that lesson. So moving on to lesson 2.2.2. 222. So bacteria life and their functions. Bacteria life and their functions. And this is another pretty short lesson. So lesson 2.2.2. So we have bacterial reproduction. So how do they make more of themselves? Well, we have binary fission, which we've learned about earlier in the year. And that's when you have the splitting of two identical daughter cells. The splitting of two identical daughter cells. And so as you can see in this little image right here, you have one cell, and then all of a sudden it just becomes two identical copies.
That looks so cool.
Yeah, I had to look through a lot of them to find one I liked, and I really like that one.
Split and stay the same size.
And so that's where budding comes into place. So Oasis made a good point. When they split, they are the same size, everything's the same with binary fission. With budding, as you can see with some of these, once this restarts, they will start just having an independent organism growing off of them. So think of this as like a wart. So just a little thing growing off of your skin or growing off of the bacteria. It just has another little structure starting to grow off of it. So it is budding.
Is budding slower?
I'm not sure the process, the speed of difference between budding and binary fission. I'm not positive.
Yes, though, other one looks a lot faster.
Yeah, that just, I have no idea what the speed between the two is. So binary fission, they're going to split into two. It's going to have an exact replicate. And then budding, you're just going to have a little tumor growing off of your bacteria cell, or a little wart, or a little zit.
You want us to
Yeah, definitely write these. This is going to be one that's probably in your quiz.
Sorry, but I'm still
So binary fission and budding. Can you guys see in the budding picture how there's a structure just slowly forming? So it's starting out slow right here, and it just gets bigger and bigger. Same with this structure and this structure. They slowly get more and more resources. So it's not the exact same as the bacteria cell that's already there. This is an actual microscope slide, and whoever the scientist was, seeing this happening under a microscope. So active bacteria cells growing,
That big
budding off of it. This here?
Yeah.
No. Nope. Yeah.
Do you think the binary fission is animated?
No, it's not animated. Nope. Animation is only in like movies and cartoons and stuff.
Wait, so the binary fusion right there, that's not animated?
This is animated, yep. The binary fission one is an animated picture.
Everything's.
I couldn't find a good under a microscope slide.
It looks like meatballs, and they're like, I don't want to be a meatball anymore. I want to be a peanut. And they're like, no, you have to be a meatball.
Wouldn't that be awesome if your meatballs would do something like this? All of a sudden you're just looking at your meatballs. You have one meatball left. Now you have two. Yes. Now my two form into 4 meatballs. Score. I don't have to pay for more meatballs.
Then you look away again.
Yeah, all of a sudden you have a big mound of meatballs. You'd never want meatballs ever again. You'd have nightmares of meatballs.
And they'll go in your stomach. You're like, this is
Yeah.
Guy knows what he has.
Mhm.
Another thing it says girls.
So
Girls say guys don't go through.
here's another little animation for you, just kind of a funny animation. So when we get into bacteria obtaining food, there's 3 different ways of them getting food. We have the breaking down of food in our digestive system. So bacteria, it's going to help your food get digested. And then you have decomposing of bacteria helps decompose food, dead plants, things like that. So that's where we bring in autotrophs, heterotrophs, and decomposers. Have you guys heard of these 3 terms, or at least one of them before? An autotroph, heterotroph, or decomposer? Yeah, decomposer. Yeah, decomposers. Those are pretty much fungi. Yep. Yep. Yeah, that was one of the ones that was there to trick you, because we haven't even got. Now we have gotten to autotroph.
That wasn't even a bonus, so you put an actual.
No, it wasn't the answer. It was just in there to throw you off.
I know, but
That wasn't the answer. Autotroph wasn't the answer.
it wasn't on.
Autotroph and heterotroph was in there. I added them in there on purpose because I couldn't think of another term that I wanted to throw in there.
Why don't we use the actual bonus?
I do. I use them for your study guides, and then I take some of those off of there. I take things from that you're learning in some of your worksheets, some of your labs. I just take questions from other resources, so then you're having a wider array of things to study from. So, and then I take some statements just straight out of your book, fill in the blank. See if you're actually reading along and that you're able to comprehend what's going on. So autotrophs, these are using photosynthesis to make their own food. So what would be an example of an autotroph? Hint, hint, it's not a human. We don't use photosynthesis. A plant, thank you, Oasis. I was getting a little scared that we didn't know what used photosynthesis to get their own food. And then a heterotroph, it feeds off other organisms. What would be an example of that? Yeah, William. That's going to fall under decomposer because it's breaking down the animal. It's breaking down. A heterotroph is just going to be like a human, essentially. We would be an example of a heterotroph. Yeah.
I stand up. I'm afraid to stand up.
If you are.
Just stand at your desk and it'll be the. Okay, then we have decomposers. We're breaking down dead organisms. So I think my next slide is the slide where there's a bit of a, if you don't want to see a decomposing fox, I would look away. But I have a GIF of a fox that is being,
He's so cool.
because I showed him it. So, okay. Oh, it's not this one. Wait, where'd it go? Where'd my decomposing fox go?
You have to look it up.
Oh, here he is. He was in the next PowerPoint. I forgot which slide he was in. There's my decomposing fox.
Yeah.
So you'll see him in tomorrow's PowerPoint.
Oh, now there.
Yeah, I apologize. I was really excited about that one. Yep. Yeah, think of Avengers Endgame when Thanos snaps his fingers and everyone gets dusted.
Wait, it's so dead.
Have a seat.
I know I need to walk.
Have a seat. You can just stand at your desk. No one else gets to walk around.
No, remember
It's like all on my leg.
Okay. Since we have a lot of talking going on, we're moving on. All right. So this is the last thing. So you guys are all done taking notes for the day. This is the last thing that's talking about autotrophs, heterotrophs, and decomposers. So a little animated, kid-friendly version.
You have a favorite animal?
No homework for today. That's it. No, you're not going to have homework today or Friday for science. Do the what?
Lesson practice.
You'll be doing them.
One day, but is it next week Friday?
There will be one day next week.
I know.
You could look on Google Classroom. It's on there.
You don't know.
Yep.
Did you like my really high detailed thing about the